Welcome to the channel, and in this video we're going to take a look at Community Report 87 for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. This was published on the 22nd of November 2023. Now this is a very short report. It consists of what you could call two sections, and both of them are interested in their own way. And the second part is, I think, it gives a fairly good indication of where the game may actually be going once it goes into full release. That out the way, we might as well jump straight in and start to see what the devs have got to say. It says, "Greetings, dear comrades of the Soviet Republic and our fans of the game worldwide. Today, let us talk about the field aerodromes. We are planning to introduce them in one of the upcoming 0.9.0.x versions. These low-cost airfields will cater to aircraft with an empty weight of up to 10 tons, perfect for smaller, more nimble planes." And this first picture shows a biplane taking off from so I'm assuming that the strip here between the two trees is actually the runway. So it looks like it's just basically they're just landing on a field. I must admit, I do like the picture of the aircraft. So moving down to the next paragraph, it says, "Alongside these aerodromes, we are introducing field airplane parking. If you find the right terrain, you can build these for free, just like the field runways and taxiways. However, there is a catch. They will only support planes with a maximum empty weight of 10 tons. So see if we can see any. I think that's a terminal there. I can't see any field parking, but I think this gives us a far better view of the actual runway. You can actually see it defined now. So it just looks like it's basically a grass strip. And then you got a kind of mud taxiway there, because if you look on the left hand side, we got a mud footpath. So this is very much a very small remote airport. So we'll just drop down to the next paragraph. It says, "Next on our list is the addition of a smaller terminal. This facility can be used with both the free field parking and standard concrete parking, offering more flexibility in your air transport network." Yeah, so this picture's got the terminal in the front with two parking places, and right at the back there, I don't know if you can see it, is the field parking, and it looks almost like you've got a plane coming off the field parking there. I would guess that the field parking would also act as it does for the current setup, as a place where you'd actually purchase the aircraft. This is quite interesting, actually. The main thing that I'm noticing is that this is very much a passenger terminal. So I'm wondering whether there will be a cargo version, because I think a cargo version could be quite useful as well. What we got down here, so it's still going. It says, "One of the key features of these field aerodromes is their simplicity. No control tower is needed. This means that you can utilize them early in the game without any research requirement. To complement these aerodromes, we have started developing lighter aircraft, which will be available for purchase for either dollars or rubles. Imagine the possibilities of starting a republic on an isolated island and expanding beyond the existing road connections. These field aerodromes can be a meaningful change, facilitating worker commute and attracting early tourists to remote locations. And as always, we look forward to seeing how our creative community players will utilize the new additions." So again, it seems to be focused very much on passenger planes, because when I first read this about start an isolated island, which is just there, I did kind of think, well, maybe they are going to include cargo planes. But the fact they're mentioning tourists, so you're saying that you're going to use a light plane to bring tourists in. No, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm quite on board with that principle. But I still think that you need to have some early cargo planes as well. The thing that does strike to mind here is that it will make, say you're doing an early start, 1920s, 1930s, when aircraft did quite literally land on open field. And a good example, if you know the UK, Heathrow Airport, which is the largest airport in the UK and probably one of the busiest in the world. I wouldn't say it is the busiest, but it is very busy. Originally started out looking like that, an aerodrome like this picture here. It was literally a building and the planes were landing on the fields themselves. So that that gives the possibility of having a historical element to the game. So we'll just have a quick look at this one. So there, this kind of gives a slightly wider view of the airport in general. We got the passenger terminal there. I will call it passenger terminal, with the 2 pickup points, some mud taxiways with a field landing strip, and then on the right hand side here, yeah, we definitely got the plane parking. But I must admit, I do like these plane models. I think I'll be end up using aircraft even just for the sake of being able to fly these aircraft, especially if they're relatively cheap. And I suppose that also then pushes on to the next question about whether you could build your own aircraft, but then you'd probably have to do the research. So that winds up the talk about aircraft. Now we get to the interesting part. It says here, now for a twist that will truly rock your world. Earthquakes. Yes, you heard that right. Some of you may have already seen footage of the new features that is surprised a few YouTubers. We are introducing random earthquakes to the game. Do not worry, they will not be too frequent, and there is a scale of magnitude keeping things interesting. Now, the fact they mention YouTubers do a completely out of the wall guess that is B-Ball Joe. He's probably been caught on that because he often has access to these early builds and plays on them, showing the new features. So I'm going to have to check out his channel. I haven't looked at it for a little while because I've been too busy doing other things, to see what an earthquake actually looks like, because it could be fun. So we'll just move down to the next paragraph. It says, expect an earthquake every few years, shaking up your towns and industrial areas. The aftermath will depend on the quake's intensity. A weaker earthquake around 4.5 might trigger fires in a few buildings, challenging your firefighting teams like never before. But if you're hit with a more intense earthquake, you may even see some buildings collapse. That's interesting, especially if they are not well maintained. So a word of caution, do not skimp on maintenance or you may face a disaster. That is very interesting, and I think that is a good segue into what I alluded to at the start. I've got a feeling that when the game, I mean, it's possible it could happen before the game goes into full release, but I think what could possibly happen post-release, that you're going to get the disaster scenarios that could hit your republic will get stronger. So there's a possibility that we could have, say, typhoons or hurricanes, if they can be engineered, things like that, possibly even flooding, things that will disturb your economy. So it's not big, so it makes the game a little bit more challenging from that perspective. So this is very interesting. I must check out to see what the effects of this is. So I'm going to emphasize, these are my initial thoughts, is that if earthquakes are in the game, you're not going to be able to put all your eggs in one basket, especially with respect to power. Another interesting one would be water, whether the pipes would break if you get an earthquake, and losing water supply or something like that could be very detrimental. That could prove a challenge. Now, the only thing I would say about this is whether it's an option that could be switched on, toggled on and off as part of the game settings, because I can imagine some players who are trying to build a really great economy, to see it suddenly destroyed by an earthquake. What you really might need is a switch that says disasters. I know there's one already relating to external events, so maybe what they may do is say, right, you have to have that enabled to experience earthquakes. So we'll just read the final paragraph. It says, that is all today's report. From the potential joys of light aviation to the thrilling challenges of managing natural disasters. There's the key word, natural disasters. There is plenty to look forward to. Ensure your emergency and maintenance teams are always at the ready, and just like that, the game, stay safe in real life and have fun, and keep an eye out for our next update. So, yep, guys, very interesting report. I really like the potential of light aircraft. I really hope that there will be a cargo option, although I'm pretty sure that if the devs don't add it, there will probably be some modder will be in very quick, because I think the ability to move small objects, say like electronics or the very small items to remote communities using an aircraft, will make a big difference with the repair aspect of the game, and that is certainly worth considering. Anyway, this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it interesting, and until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.